Welcome to episode 92 of the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. Today, we're talking about doing hard things even when you're scared. I was having a conversation the other day with a client, and we were discussing some work issues and having conversations with people that are subordinate. And it was just interesting because as we talked more in depth about the situation and conversations that need to be had, ultimately, we uncovered that she was just scared of having the conversation, of saying something wrong, or just being not as confident as she needed to be as a manager. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about doing it scared. And when we find out that we are scared or that we identify that is so wonderful. It's exciting. And let me tell you why. Because this is what you can work on. If you figure out that that's what's wrong, that you're scared, you can go to work. I'm just going to talk a little bit about how we can break that down and how we can work on it if we're scared. If you're in business, if you want to be a better manager, if you want to be a better wife, spouse, if you're just scared to go for your dreams, whatever the thing is that you are holding back on because you're scared, listen up. This episode is going to be something that you'll want to hear. It's not hard, but it is something that might help you ease a little bit of your fears and get past that self-doubt and get going. Have you ever felt held back by self-doubt, whether it's speaking up in a meeting or connecting with others or simply just believing in your own worth? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm Heather Edwards, Master Certified Life Coach, and my goal is to empower you to step into your most authentic, confident self. Here, you're going to discover practical strategies and powerful insights to help you improve your communication, deepen those relationships, and elevate your self-esteem. And each week, I'm going to guide you through some actionable tips and mindset shifts that are specifically designed to help you break free from fear, show up boldly in every area of your life, and build crazy confidence. Are you ready to stop hiding in the shadows, playing small, and avoiding the spotlight? Grab your favorite pen and a notebook, and let's get to it. First things first, how do we know that we're scared and it's keeping us from doing what we want to do or need to do? One quick thing that I can recognize when I'm coaching someone is if they're avoiding something. If they're avoiding doing something that they know that they have to do, this is often a sign that they are simply scared or fearful or filled with some doubt about the process or about just doing it in general. This could be your big sign that says, oh, I keep avoiding this. If you happen to be avoiding, just check in with yourself and figure out if it really is that you're simply scared. The next big sign that you might be avoiding is if you are constantly looking for different parts of the process or what you're getting ready to face, if you're researching a lot. I am guilty of this. This is probably one of the biggest things that I do when I'm uncertain or I don't know everything. I did that with the podcasting. When I thought about podcasting, I was researching things for quite some time before I took the leap. And then even after I took the leap, paid for a program, even in that process, I still found myself wandering off and doing research. So pay attention. Are you over-researching? Are you continually looking for a reason not to do it? Are you over-researching? Those are two big signs that you might just be scared. The other sign that you might just be scared is that you know you're scared. You start to sweat. Maybe you get nervous. Maybe you start getting really weird feelings in your stomach, or maybe you literally find yourself sick, physically ill. I have coached clients that will physically get ill when they have something that they are anticipating and it creates anxiety or stress for them and they have a physical reaction to that. That could be another sign that you are too scared to do something. All of these things could just be little signs that you're scared and you're fearful or doubtful of moving forward. But what I want you to do is get really good at catching yourself. If you are in a state of fear or if you're in that state of resistance of like not moving forward, catch yourself, because the first step of figuring it out is figuring out that you're scared, naming it. I'm scared. Then once you figure out the fact that you're scared, then you just need to take some time to reflect on, why am I scared? What am I really afraid of? Are you afraid of being wrong? Are you afraid of failure, rejection? Maybe there's something else that you're afraid of. Maybe you have doubts about your capability in front of people. Or maybe you're afraid to approach your spouse because you're afraid that they won't agree to something that you want to do. Or maybe you're embarrassed, so you have some shame. Write out whatever it is what the why is behind you being scared. Sometimes this will be very obvious to you, and sometimes this may be something you have to do some research for. And what I mean by research, I mean like gut check. Really digging in your own mind and figuring out, why am I really having this reaction? This is why I encourage you to write down your fears. Just do a brain dump. Why am I afraid? And just write out all the reasons. Keep asking why. Even if you say, I'm afraid I'm going to be wrong. Ask yourself why. Why am I afraid of being wrong? Answer that and then ask why. Just ask why until you cannot come up with anything else. It sounds weird to do that, but it actually continues to peel back the onion on what your brain is doing and what it's creating for you when you're in the process of trying to do whatever X is, whatever the thing that you're trying to do is that you're scared of. Once you actually write down those fears, I want you, and you're figuring out where are my fears coming from, I want you to do a little bit more digging. Are they tied to a past experience? Are they from a limiting belief? Are they simply a story that you're telling yourself that may or may not even be true? Use journaling or voicing it to a friend that you really care about and that will give you good feedback. Use them to process out this information that is within you. This idea that there's something outside of you that is the answer is usually not even truly the case. Sometimes it's as simple as just uncovering what is hiding inside of you or what is keeping you from moving forward. Then once you figure out that fear and you've come to what you believe it's from, two things. One, you're going to go to work to try to work on that limiting belief or that past experience that's keeping you from moving forward. What I call DIRT, your doubts, insecurities, resistance, and triggers. All of those things are important to work through. If you can't get past them, get a coach, hire me. I work with people all the time about their doubts, insecurities, resistance, and triggers because those things keep you from doing what you need to do. And oftentimes you're not even aware of that's what keeps you in this cycle of being scared and keeps you in this cycle of having great ideas or having to do something at work and you just can't do it because it's holding you back. That dirt that you have that you haven't dealt with is holding you back. But once you start working on all of that, then you have to figure out too, is there truth behind the fear? Is there some kind of truth to it or are you just making it up? Because it also could just be something that you're creating a story in your head and it's a protection for you from your brain from doing the uncomfortable thing. Being uncomfortable is not fun. I can tell you that behind that being uncomfortable, you are going to find there's action that you can take and there are things that you can do and that will be so much better and you will let go of that being scared. You really want to figure out the truth behind your fear. Question if your fear is real or is it imagined? Are you just creating scenarios in your brain to protect yourself? Because our mind is set up to protect us from things that are going to harm us or things that are uncomfortable. But it's important to recognize the difference between a real threat and something that is simply uncomfortable and possibly getting in our way. One way you can look at this is, can you identify someone else who's done what you've done? Is there someone that you've seen that's dealt with something similar and they've had to move through this and do it in a courageous way? Maybe you can tap into them and ask them, how did you handle this? What did you do to get over the fear? You may also restructure your fear by asking yourself a question like, what's the worst that it could happen? What is the best that could happen? And be realistic here because we can dramatize things and make things way bigger or less big than they need to be, depending on which direction that your brain is taking you. Going back to sharing your fears with someone that you trust or a coach to get an outside perspective or someone who's already done it. That's always a great way to do this as well. And then the next thing, I just encourage you to move forward with small steps. But how do we do that? How do we move forward with small steps? Is actually writing down your goal or whatever it is that you're scared to do into micro little mini steps. And then you're going to take those micro little mini steps and evaluate them along the way. What is going right? What has gone wrong? And what can I do better next time? Because the process of taking the steps is going to put you into action, is going to put you in a place where you're going to be learning along the way. That is literally how anything gets done in the world, is people learn along the way. No one starts out knowing everything. Each of us, no matter what it is, if you even go back to when you learned to ride a bike, if you do know how to ride a bike, you didn't just hop on the bike and start riding the bike and pedaling and know everything. The first part of the process is to be able to get on the bike without falling over one side or the other. The second part is learning to balance on the bike. The third part is like learning to create motion so you can move forward and get your feet on the pedals and take that centrifugal force, if that's that the right word, and move forward with both your pedals and keep going and keep that balance on your handlebars. So there's a process that has to happen. There's all these little mini steps that have to happen for you to quote unquote ride a bike. It's no different with whatever it is that you're scared to do. Write down the mini steps that it's going to take and do them one at a time. If the mini step number 1, getting on the bike, is the part that you're falling over, you can't seem to get your leg over and then balance, then you're going to figure out what's going right, what isn't going right, and what can I do to do better next time. And you'll keep repeating that process until you master that mini step, and then you'll move on. Here's the great thing. If you do little things and these micro goals, you're going to build your self-confidence along the way. You're going to be able to feel closer to your goal. And what I want you to do is celebrate your effort, not just your outcomes, but your effort. Every time you take an action, instead of just sitting there or overcomplicating it or over-researching it, I want you to celebrate it. You might even use someone as a sounding board and say, hey, keep me accountable to this. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I decided that I'm going to read the Bible from the start to the finish. I've never done it cover to cover, so I've decided instead of just doing Bible studies where it picks out things from different books that I want to do cover to cover. And I have a friend that I've been bouncing questions off as I'm reading it through. And I'm only in Genesis, y'all, but I'm going to do it. It's great because I'm able to, connecting to her with this goal, we're able to go through the process together a little bit. She's not reading it with me at the same time, but I am using her as a sounding board and as a check person to celebrate where I'm doing more and keeping me accountable to what I'm doing. So find someone that you trust, tell them about your mini goals or tell them about your big goal and check in with them on your mini goals or your mini steps and just keep taking action. And just remember, your action does not have to be perfect action. It just needs to be forward action. Then what you're going to do is you're going to acknowledge that you did it scared and check in with how that feels. How is your body reacting? Because the more comfortable you are being uncomfortable and understanding your own body, what your body does when you are uncomfortable, the more your brain is going to be okay with that and the easier it will become. And you will be able to accomplish way more than you ever thought you could because you're going to just get acclimated to that over time. You'll become more resilient. You will get good at doing scary things, and you know that you'll be able to do things outside of your comfort zone with ease. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's simply moving forward even though you have that fear. By recognizing and identifying your fears and you finding that truth behind your fear and taking those small steps forward in spite of having fear or being scared, you will actually slowly shift from being paralyzed and being able to feel empowered and ready and open to new possibilities. I am excited for you because I really think this could be something that could change you if you are not someone familiar with doing uncomfortable things and doing it scared anyway. I promise you, it will be life-changing. So what is one small step you are willing to take today around something that is scary for you to do? How will that scary thing, that one thing, help you move forward to bigger things? So often we are waiting for everything to be perfect. We're waiting for things to be aligned in all ways, or we are waiting to have all the answers before we start. The only problem with that is that you won't find perfect and you don't find alignment all the time and you won't have all the answers ahead of time, most times. Take small action now toward the thing you want more clarity on. Take action now toward the thing that makes you nervous to do. Take action now on the thing that you have been dreaming about, but haven't yet because of all those doubts that you have about it. Great clarity comes from action. Sometimes someone to bounce those ideas off and share your fear with is exactly what you need. So go find a friend, or better yet, just sign up for coaching. Sign up for coaching with me. Being scared is only a feeling, and it's a feeling that is driven by your thoughts, and your thoughts can change over time. So how do they change? They change with information, and action gives you more information. It's that simple. Do it scared and come back next Tuesday. Share this episode with someone you know that has something they want to do, but they aren't doing it out of fear. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It has been a blast. I would love for you to do me a huge favor and either go leave a rating or a review. And if you really love the podcast or you've learned anything at all, please pass it on to a friend or a family member that might enjoy the podcast as well. That's how I grow, and that's how I'm able to continue bringing you content. If you are interested in coaching, just go to thecrazyconfidencecoach.com. You can sign up for a free discovery call there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you next Tuesday so we can build our crazy confidence together. Love you big.